Hello everybody, bear with me for a second while I try to fix what I broke because I forgot to reinstall Inkscape. So give me a second while everything is running and updating and blah 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 blah. I spent yesterday reinstalling Windows and resetting everything up. Apparently I forgot a few programs. That's why we started a little bit late. I forgot to reinstall the chat program so I can see chat, and then I just realized I forgot to reinstall Inkscape so I could update the title card for the day. So I just need to really quickly do that. Hopefully the video quality is fine. Hopefully the audio quality is fine. Like a normal idiot, I forgot to back up my OBS settings. I almost always forget every time I reinstall Windows to back up the OBS settings because they store them in app data. So I forgot yet again. I think we're okay, but I won't know for sure, obviously, until I get feedback. So if anyone sees a problem with the stream, quality-wise, sound-wise, things like that, let me know. And I'm just going to quickly fix this. So let's see. Pictures. And this is the daily stream logo. Let's just leave that as an ignore for now. That is kind of weird. Okay. Let's change this. Come on, give me the third. Thank you. There we go. And then export. Can I have my export window, please? Ah, seriously? Export. Yeah, I knew it was here somewhere. Let's see. Daily stream logo. There we go. Okay. So now hopefully we can fix this with the proper logo. Nope, because I exported it and I forgot to actually hit the export button, which I do almost every time when I'm using Inkscape. So let's try this again. File, daily stream. Actually hit the export button this time. Once I name it. There we go. Whoa, that exported way too big. Why does that say it's not exporting the right size? Okay, let's find out here in a second. Okay, obviously that did not export out at the correct size. So once again, we've broken something. We're getting somewhere. I am getting somewhere. It had to do with that stupid import option. Oh, dang it. My file size is not my proper file size anymore. Because someone decided it was going to be a butthead to me. Yeah, 1920 by 1080. Can I please have my document size? No, I want my... Oh, because this is not 90... This is what, 96 pixels now? There we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. Now we've got an image the right size. Okay, good. Now that I spent all that time, now we can switch back to the live stream. All right. So good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017. We're going to jump into our live stream a few minutes late. Like I was mentioning earlier, for anyone who showed up, I wiped my machine clean, reset up everything, and apparently I forgot the chat and Inkscape. But now I think we're good. I know the plan... Well, and hello, everybody who's hanging out. Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. What was I going to say? Oh, so I know the plan was to kind of work on, or to check out 4.16, and I kind of started doing that. I also realized I kind of just forgot to tweet, so give me a second on that one. It's been a fun day. I found out that installing a brand new clean install of Windows 10, it's been a fun day. Studio 2017, which are both recommended by Epic for the latest versions of the engine, does not actually let you compile the engine. because of some changes. And apparently Epic has known about this for about 6 months and it's still not fixed. So I had a lot of fun fixing that last night. Okay, good. But our stream is now tweeted again. So we'll work on, I'll go over some 4.16 stuff. I have not looked at it much. From what I can tell, it honestly doesn't look like there's a ton of big features that I can cover personally. I did look at it, but you know, there's only so many things in there that I can cover, and a lot of them are art related, but I'll go over it, see if there's anything nifty. Also, like normal, ask questions. I can try to help people out as best as possible. Zelati has one. How do you get variables from the level blueprint? You don't. You don't want to use a level blueprint. Because you can't cast a level blueprint is pretty much exactly why. Level blueprints are throwbacks to UDK, Unreal Engine 3, and Kismet, where the level blueprint was the only place you put all of your code. Now that we have components and blueprints and individual places to put code, the level blueprint is kind of like a holdover. For the most part, the only thing you'd want to use a level blueprint at this point is maybe starting up something like firing off a manager or putting up a UI where it's a fire and forget. Or if you have to use the the sequencer and matinee system for their payloads and triggers. Unfortunately, those are tied to level blueprints. Other than that, you shouldn't have to use the level blueprint for anything else. You are seeing the exact reason why. You can't cast the level blueprint. You really can't get anything out of it. The only thing you could do is send data from the level blueprint, or you could have the level blueprint bind a event dispatcher. But even then, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Just simply being honest there. It is not intended. So what are you using your level blueprint for? Maybe there's a better place to put it. And let's see. So let me find my 4.16 stuff. Yeah, so these are the release notes for 4.16. Hold on a second. I gotta remember I gotta open up everything in here. Here we go. So these are the release notes for 4.16. There's a lot of stuff I've actually found over the last couple months in the master branch that aren't in here yet. That's unfortunately one thing about their release notes versus their final release notes versus their preview notes. Their preview notes highlights the high-end things, like, hey, we put in volumetric fog. But it doesn't highlight the low-end things like widgets now have a pre-construct event, things like that. And you don't normally find those out until the full release notes. But just going over the highlights, it looks like the animation system is getting the update, like they mentioned. The new cloth solver was shown at GDC, so that's really cool. Basically allows you to paint your cloth inside the engine rather than in your external content creation system. And it has vertex and texture paint on skeleton meshes, which I'm guessing is mainly used for weighting. I'm not an artist, so I don't know. Spline IK node is useful for spines. Yeah, we know that. Animation modifiers. Haven't played with that much. Rigid body node. Pose driver is useful for blending poses. Okay, so the look at node has been improved. So we can take a look at that quickly. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, but they seem to think it is. It looks like it just takes in a bone. Which honestly confuses me. Or do they mean, oh, you know what? They're talking about the look at inside the animation blueprint is what they're talking about. Is that what they're talking about? Wait, I'm using 4.16, right? Yeah, this is 4.16. Okay, are they, okay. The look at node has been improved to be usable relative to a bone or socket. And if we actually look at the new Trello, if I can paste that in here. Oh, close the volumetric fog. They had that in here. Look at location can now be used relative to a bone or socket. Previously, this value was ignored when we specified bone or socket, but now using an offset from a bone or socket. Okay, look at node improvements relative to a bone or socket. Did anyone see a bone or a socket in there? That's my look at. Okay, maybe I'm missing some other look at nodes. So let's on context sensitivity. We got look at rotation and look at under animation. Okay, maybe it's in an anim blueprint. I guess we can figure that one out. Let's see. Third person. Where's my anim blueprint mannequin? Here we go. So maybe they mean look at node in here, which is the same node. These don't have bones, right? I'm not crazy. Huh. Okay, well, I'm gonna mark that down as Epic is crazy and they hid something from us. It's in the anim. I'm in the anim blueprint, so here's the anim blueprint. I mean, this is the same look at node that I have right here. But I don't see bones, because it does specifically mention bone, right? I'm not crazy. It literally says, look at location can now be used relative to a bone or socket. Previously, its value was ignored when you specified a bone or socket. But you can have, but now you can have, use it as an offset from the bone or socket. Okay. And then we look at the actual node itself, and I don't see bone or a socket. Okay, I'm not crazy. Maybe I am. Let's see. Ronald. Oh, wait. Now you can animate your character like in Blender. Yeah, there are definitely some. Well, I mean, technically, you could always do that before. You could do skeletal animation. You could make your own poses inside the animation system. No, you can. You could do that before. If you did skeleton. Wait, well, let's see. Animation, and then you did a new animation. You could always do a new animation. And then you could drive the bones and keyframe it. Yeah, you could do keyframes before. Target position equals socket. Well, it's not a socket. It's not a socket. It says socket/bone, which means it's going to be an actual name. Unless I'm reading this wrong. Then they may have just named this really crappily. So we're just going to assume they named this crappily, or they don't know what they're talking about, and we'll ignore it. Because technically, this is 4.6p2. It may not be in yet. Yeah, okay, well, I don't know. Capsule collision be imported from FBX. That's useful if you're going to pull in your existing character from a DCC program. No, 8shot, I'm always taking questions. We're just looking at this stuff right now. Well, we can create a socket. Yep, that's not a problem. I mean, there's nothing ever stopping us from going to our skeleton and finding the hand left and then adding a socket for, weapon. That's never been stopping us before, but this is an actual socket name. And in terms of the anim blueprint, it's, not here. Animation exports, yeah. Get material from face index. This one's useful if you want to see like what material when you're shooting down at the ground. So you could kind of use it as a fake physics asset retrieval for ground tracing. And play montage is an async node. Oh yeah, they changed the play montage to be have callbacks now. I remember that. That was the other one. So, because I was actually playing with montages in yeah, see, there's the old montage. Well, that's technically still the same. But now you have this one, which can do the same thing, except it gives you output nodes instead of just being fire and forget. So that's helpful. Let's see. And I'm doing good, everybody. And thank you for asking, Diver. Let's see, 8shot. I have an inventory system, which have a variable number of backslots. Okay. Can you tell what node I need to use to spawn, create an instance of a widget within a widget, i.e. create a widget, create a specified number of slot widgets within a wrap box inside my inventory widget? Let's see. Give me a second, 8-shot. Yeah, I want to go. I friggin' hate.
Okay, thank you very much for coming along to the last Unreal Engine session of the day.
Show you a control rig that we've built for this show. This is base human, and this will be available to people in the next version.
Okay, so
and
control rig system, but this is in
in the level.
sequencer.
And here we are. There's the rig applied to the actor, and we can just.
Yeah, this is but this is in sequencer. It's not. Is it outside of the animation system itself, or is it just tied to sequencer?
And blend to and from them.
Because all this is done inside, and
I don't we're in a show.
This is inside
these
of.
We've been working with these for these new animations. It's kind of like a level sequence, but it animates this new object. It's not an actor. It's called a control rig.
Check. Yeah, add control rig. Side of. Yeah, now I'm super confused. Man, the problem is we don't know. Oh, did I leave the audio? The audio shouldn't be on, is it? Hold on a second. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I meant to mute desktop audio. I apologize for that. Yeah, now there should be no desktop audio. But the biggest problem is a lot of this stuff may not necessarily be in yet. Where is... Seriously? Yeah, I don't know where they got this from, because this is... So, yeah, I'll have to check this out. Because you'll notice this example. Okay, so let's see. Yep. Come on, play. Oh, it would help if I hit the play button, wouldn't it? La 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 la. Yeah, I keep skipping over the part where they're creating the stupid asset, which isn't very helpful when I'm actually trying to follow along with this. Create new control rig sequence. Oh, okay, yeah. See, they have a whole nother mode at the top. You have your default modes, and I don't think that's in 4.16. Because if you notice, we don't have that mode. Unless it's a experimental feature. Okay, yeah, here we go. Control rig, beta version. Okay. Okay, so that's a whole complete new system is what that is. Which I don't think they mentioned in the docs here, right? I'm not crazy. Control. Controller. Yeah, so they don't even mention the control rig inside of that. And there we go. Now we have our new animation set up for a control rig. So that would explain why I couldn't find that. There we go. Control rig, different type of human setup. Okay. Yeah, so that's new stuff, but that's experimental. That's not even mentioned in the 4.16 notes. That is cool, though. I'll have to check that out. Okay, so sorry about that, 8-shot. Okay, so let's say we are trying to close down this thing right here, which I can't. There we go. Okay, and then close this down. Okay, so let's say you are trying. Okay, so you're trying to add widgets. So I'm guessing these widgets are a slot widget, like define a slot, for example, because you're calling it a slot widget, and you're trying to put that inside of a wrap widget. So you'd have to have your user interface widget blueprint. So for example, we just call this your slot. And we'll just make this really simple. We're just going to make this an image just for our purposes here. I probably should not have done that. Deleted that. There we go. And then we want the I want a size box. Here we go. Whoops, wrap it with size box. And then I'll make these each 32 by 32. Okay. So here's an actual widget. Oops, not play. That I should be able to put onto my main inventory. And then this, for example, will be my screen. So this is going to represent my screen. Now, if you were to add in our slots, obviously we want them to be our specific size. We want them to be 32 by 32 like that. And you're going to want them to, you're going to want to have a bunch of those, obviously. You have to define what they're going to go in. So in your case, you're saying within a wrap box like this. So you'd have a wrap box in here somewhere. And your wrap box is going to have a variable name. So we could call this our, inventory box. And this is what we're going to call, where we're going to put stuff. So it's our inventory box. And you have it set up however you want. I don't have any of these setups, obviously. But we have a reference to it. That's our inventory box. So here's our screen itself. And let's say our screen is ran and we need to add things to it. We have our inventory box. You get it. It is of type inventory box. And it is a panel. Right? Wrap box, yeah. So it's a panel. So here's our inventory box. And what we do is add child. And if we add a child to the wrap box like this, then it's whatever child we want. So in this case, let's say we're going to do something like this. For each, not for each loop, for loop. And we'll say between 0, let's go start with 1, and then we'll go with 10 for now. Do this. Move him over. Then we create our widget. Now, of course, you can put this anywhere you want. And then the output goes into there. And it's roughly something like this, providing we have our screen on the screen. So let's go ahead and add it to our screen. This is about one of the only reasons I ever really use for the person who was asking the level blueprint is for my examples. This is what I use to create my screen, my widget blueprints, just because I never interact with them. They just go on the screen. But you'll notice we have what we wanted. This thing went in, it looped however many times, so between 1 and your max inventory, for example. It created the widget for the slot, and then it added them to our child wrap box. It added a child to our inventory box, which is our wrap box. Now, I don't have the wrap box set up properly, obviously, so we could do something. I'm just going to do this for testing purposes. Okay. So we have no spacing in our wrap box. So let's see, what do we want? Like 10 and 10? Something like that. Give us a little bit like that. And then, let's see, we could do our inventory somewhere like that. Okay. So delete our test ones, run their example, and there you go. So there's our inventory set with 10 slots. And that's all based on however many numbers we put in here. I mean, we could have 25, for example. And there's 25. So wherever you're creating your inventory at, you're basically just going to want to loop through, create your slot widget, because it should be a separate widget, and then add them as a child to where the wrap box is, to your inventory box. That's basically how you would do it. And then, depending on what you want to do, if you ever need them later, you could always add these to like an array. Yeah, you didn't have a reference to the inventory. Yep, okay, well there you go. Yep, it's a variable and you should be good. It always helps walking through stuff because then you can figure things out. Yep, okay, cool. So that was simple enough. Okay, and we know about the control rig, which I had never seen before, so that'll be interesting. Now, I tried playing with volumetric fog, and volumetric fog is a smart person's fog because, because honestly, well, look at this. Here's the Trello. Here's volumetric fog. That looks really cool. Okay, how do you actually use volumetric fog if you're not an artist? I pull up here's our preview, and it mentions volumetric fog. Here's our example project, and I actually have volumetric fog in the level right now, but I don't know, how do you make it look good? Here's our height fog. I can turn on volumetric fog. Actually, that's just regular height fog, but here's volumetric fog, and I don't know, is it supposed to be doing something? It's one of those things that they added in, which could be really cool, except you have to know how to use it. So for people who know what volumetric fog is and understand the options, it's in the engine now. That's kind of cool, I guess. I'll have to figure it out. I mean, you basically have options in here, but like here's a link for feedback. Cool. Okay, it gives us an example of a material to give us an effect. Cool. Then you get some people creating stuff like this. Okay. But okay, cool. Look, yeah, cool. Look, he got this effect. Okay. Cool. Does anyone actually see any settings in here? Anyone actually see a screenshot of how to set this stuff up? Nope, I don't either. Yep, like 8Shot saying, you have to play with it. And that's an art thing, and I don't even understand how it would work. But volumetric fog is in there. Hopefully I'll have some more time to play with that. But that's one of those things where you just literally have to play with it for hours on end to try to get something working. Kind of nifty, but a bummer for people who don't understand how to use it. Let's see, we have a new bloom setup. So blooms are supposed to be more realistic. So that's cool. Garbage collection is improved. So basically the little hiccups you might get when you're destroying a bunch of stuff should be better. So that's a good thing. Localized string tables are kind of cool. String tables themselves are kind of cool. It's under miscellaneous, I want to say. Yep, string table. Yeah, string tables are like hello key, and then it allows you to kind of do lookup tables based on keys, which is nice. So for localization, it allows you to pull up a key and then output a source. So it's kind of like an array of strings inside of the engine now. It's useful primarily for localization purposes. Color grading, asset audit window. See, I looked at asset audit window, so let's see. And yeah, again, people feel free to ask questions if we have anything. We're just going through stuff, seeing if we can find anything nifty. This is the asset audit window. It lets you search for stuff inside your engine. Seriously. And it's supposed to work, but apparently it's one of those things. If you don't know how stuff works, yeah, look at this. I'm not crazy here, right? This doesn't seem to be doing anything. Drop files here or right click to create content. Okay, so let's try dropping a file here. Bloop. Bloop. No. Ah, okay, try it again. Nope. 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 I don't think this is working. Does anyone else think this is not working? Okay, well, asset audit was added. Asset audit was added, but it doesn't seem to work properly. Let's see. Specialized version of the content browser. Once you have opened the window, assets can be added using the buttons, and platform data look of cooked registries can be loaded. Okay, so since I haven't cooked anything, it probably won't work. Oh, okay. So we'll pop that back up. But I mean, map. Filter need activated for BP look at. What do I mean, look. I guess I add. You're saying add. Let's see, add BP. I mean, because double clicking on any of these things don't actually add anything. It's not doing anything. I could drop this in here. Okay, so we've got that dropped into here, but I mean, filter is not doing anything. I'm not showing any blueprint classes. On left, filter arrow down. Yep. I've got it set for blueprint. I guess, yeah, it's set for blueprint classes. But I'm not seeing any blueprint classes in here. I'm not seeing anything. I can tell it to add map, for example, level. Yeah, it's not showing my levels, which I just added in theory. We could always try adding the level. Let's see. Nope, that didn't do anything. Clear. Drop files here, or right click to create content. Nope. I'm thinking it's meant for stuff maybe not in it. You're not adding classes though. I'm not adding anything apparently. I mean, I can drop a map in here, nothing happens. I can drop the blueprint. Yeah, I don't. Okay, classes. Well, I mean, here's a class. How do I add the class? I literally click on it and nothing happens. Add asset class. We'll go down to the blueprint look at. I click on it and it says one selected, but then what do I do? I mean, it's not doing anything when I click on it. Dragging's not working. At dropping the actual created object isn't working. Try the one that isn't grayed out. Do you need to refresh it? Yeah, here's refresh, so that's not working. Nope, selected platforms only editor, so that's the only thing there. Try one that isn't grayed out. What do you mean isn't grayed out? What's grayed out? Yeah, I'm pretty much just clicking everything at this point in time, and nothing seems to be working. So I guess we'll have to figure this one out. Because I'm sure it works. I believe I remember reading something about it not working 100% until this one right here, the asset management framework, not working properly in the editor until 4.17. I think it's C++ only right now. Now, view options in the bottom right was all the normal stuff we normally have. Yeah, it's because it is a content browser, so it's just our normal stuff. I mean, I guess I could technically do... Yeah, see, all it's going to do is change all these things over here. All at the same time. Which is super annoying. Yeah. Oh, we'll skip that one for now. Not a big deal. Let's see. VR modes UI. Don't have VR set up. VR mode has access sequencer. Cool. Physics simulation of VR. Cool. Smart staffing of VR. Cool. Cool. So 4 VR things. I don't have VR on. Material parameter collection tracks have been added. Okay, so that's cool. Where did the sequencer go? Okay, so this is saying that material parameter collection tracks have been added, which I don't have any material parameter collection, so that really doesn't help at all. Let's see. Material parameter collection and PC test. So I think you can drive a material parameter collection from sequencer. Or it'll crash. I guess that works too. It doesn't look like we're driving anything from that material parameter collection. Right now, UE4 definitely seems like it's focusing on VR, but I think it's primarily because VR isn't really like a stable state. I mean, because plus it's also probably where a lot of their clients want them to be. VR is like the hot new thing right now. So it does make a little sense. Okay, so let's try that again and see if we crash it again. Let's save it. Okay, let's open up our sequencer. Okay, and let's add material parameter collection. Okay, let's not do that again. So we're going to go ahead and not test out the material parameter collection option. But if it was working, that's pretty cool, because material parameter collections allow you to update multiple materials at the same time for the parameters. So you could have, for example, your entire level could have like a blue theme, and then your sequence could be playing. All of a sudden, your guy gets angry, and you could use the material parameter collection inside of the sequencer to give it kind of like a darker tone, like a red tone or something. So you could thematically change materials in the sequencer. So that's kind of cool. Assuming it worked, that will be kind of cool. So it looks like 4.16's got a lot of crashy stuff so far. Let's see. Binding overrides on sequencer. Okay, so yeah, the new audio engine is supposed to be in. So let's see if we can set that up. So let's try opening that one up. And that one's going to be under, let's see, what do we got? Where'd the instructions go? Windows Engine INI, which is of course not in this config. So I need to enable it in the editor probably. Okay, so now we need to find the editor. Okay. Try that again. And audio device module X audio 2. Multi-platform, let's see. So Windows set audio device module name to use audio mixer X audio 2. Okay, so I guess that's already in there. That's kind of cool. Am I just crazy, or is this the identical thing? No. Wait. What? Oh, that's his audio mixer module. This one's audio device module. Okay, so I'm not crazy. So audio device module name. Okay, so we'll uncomment that one, and we'll comment that one out. We'll close our Windows INI file. We'll close our project, and we'll reopen our project. Maybe this will work for us? We're not doing too good on our features so far. And I know there's a new synthesis plugin. I kind of played with that for a little bit. That's really hard, though, to make work. See, this is all audio. I'm not a... This is what kind of sucks about the previews, okay? I'm just going to be... From my opinion on this one. I'm primarily a blueprinter, so I work with blueprints. Blueprints get a lot of changes every release. The problem is they're not stylistic, flashy, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing in the world changes. So whenever they release the preview notes, they never really show the previews for the blueprints. I have to wait for them to show up in the final version, which kind of sucks. And, oh, synthesis is what I was looking for. So like right now, I'm basically playing with a bunch of stuff that I do not have experience with. Can I have the Steam? I'm trying to turn on the Steam audio plugin, but apparently I can't type in that properly. There we go. Because that was another one that was new. So we're going to restart those again. And now, yeah, because you have the Steam audio SDK, and we have the synthesis plugin. These are all the new audio system stuff that's supposed to work good. There we go. So this stuff's still crashing because we broke a bunch of our assets, so nothing wrong with that. All of our widget blueprints are gone because our game crashed. So let's go ahead and just shut those off for now. There we go. So we should have a new synthesis. We have a couple new things in audio if I can find them. Here we go. Yeah. So we have a couple new things in audio. If my phone will stop ringing. There we go. Okay, so yeah, we have our submixes, we have the basic stuff. As far as I know, with the new audio engine, the primary point of it when it comes in is to simply replace the existing one and make it better. And then it will go ahead and add in all the new stuff later. Any of the new stuff. Yeah, so here's our synth. Here's our new synths, is what they are. Whoops, if I can spell synth right. So we have like a granular synth, and we have... But I'm not an audio person, so honestly, I'm just going to click on synth a couple times and probably move on. But I know there was someone playing with this that it was really cool. Yeah, so these are all just, they could play, it's a synth, it's what it is. I mean, that is what this is. Anyone who likes this stuff and thinks it's really cool, let me know how it is. I don't know how any of this stuff works. I'm sure it's got lots of options in here. In theory, I don't even see them. Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. So yeah. So, I mean, this is all the new stuff. So it lets you get sample information and set different settings on the synth. That is nothing I can do about it. I'm going to be honest here. Yeah, I wish it was something I could do. Okay, next. This is definitely not the most fun stream in the world. I'm sorry. But again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to toss them out. If you want to look at something, let me know. But I mean, I'm not, let's see, I'm not an artist, and I'm not an animator, and I'm definitely not a sound guy. Sequencers, art, tools is great, except some of these crashed our system, so that didn't help much. Mobile updates. Let's see. I know this is the runtime permissions, which is good. So no longer, instead of asking permission during install, it asks when you use it. So, hey, I want to talk to your contacts whenever you tell them to connect to like Facebook or something like that. So those are useful. Virtual keyboard, mobile. So they added invalidation panels, it looks like, to Android. So that basically means things that don't move much. So static UI, maybe a picture, a border, and things like that will, yeah, basically improve UI on mobile. Support for WebAssembly is really cool. That basically means the WebGL stuff will run faster. Yeah, and then VR stuff. Well, this is kind of not much fun. We'll go through the roadmap. Here's the roadmap of stuff that's supposed to work. Yeah, mesh painting, HTML, runtime permissions. See, this is the asset management framework, which I think goes hand in hand with that asset viewer. But you'll notice on here, it is features will not be ready to be used by Blueprint-only games or inexperienced developers. So that's me, until 4.17. The Asset Manager tab can be used to set up rules for a game. So I think that's the biggest reason we ran into an issue. The asset management system is not really publicly usable yet. So I think that's a big one. Because here's the asset audit window. This is what we're supposed to be seeing right here. But I obviously did not. Yeah, because once you've opened the window, assets can be added using the buttons. I can guarantee you I tried using the buttons to make it work, and it didn't work. But I have a feeling that's because we don't have this part working properly. Yeah, here's the string table support. So it takes the string tables, you can now localize them, which is nice. Look at node, we couldn't get to work. Opacity mask, import capsule collisions. Different options for assets based on if they're local or shared. Okay, so yeah, so these are nice because you have the profiles for settings, and basically you can have shared settings or local settings. What would you use the asset window for? As far as I can tell, the asset manager is right here. It's used to discover, load, and audit maps and game-specific assets in the editor at runtime or at runtime. It makes a framework to create things like quests, weapons, heroes, load them on demand, still under active development. Actually, this is completely different. This is asset. No, that's asset audit. The asset audit window can be used to audit disk size, memory usage, and general asset property for many assets at once. Think of it as, I guess the point of it, because if we look at it here, you can see sizes and things like that, dimensions. If you've ever done something like this, let's find our animations. You have the matrix for editing, so let's find our matrix. Right here, bulk edit via property matrix. This basically lets you see everything all at once for multiple things. So you can see like number of keys, type. You can see all these settings for this, for your animations. That asset manager is intended, my guess, if you get it working properly, to give you a, yeah, see, definitely not using this right. But think of it kind of like File Explorer in Windows, where you can see all the things like that. Well, my game's not running. I'm not doing anything in the game. Think of it kind of like File Explorer, where, like here, File Explorer shows us the file name, a date, a type, a size, and any other asset. That's what the Asset Manager is meant to do, but inside the engine. I guess that's a good way of comparing it. Working on your first project, 3D spaceship. Started with a static mesh for my ship. Now I realize I need to replace with a skeletal mesh for parts, animations, and stuff. I was using add local rotation for pitch, yaw, and roll, and add force for engine. Do you have to change any of that when I'm starting to use the skeletal mesh? As far as I know, you don't. The skeletal mesh just gives you access to a skeleton that you can use for skeletal animation. Parts animation. I mean, do you actually have a skeleton on this ship? That's basically the difference between a static mesh and a skeletal mesh, is the skeleton. And you're going to use skeletal animation, either IK or keyframe animation. I guess there's FK forward kinematics as well. But if you're going to use basically physics for movement type thing, or if you're going to use keyframe animation, that's basically the only reason you really need the skeletal mesh. So if you have like animated, like you said, you have parts animation and stuff. So if you do have parts animating, like maybe the wings folding down, then yeah, you'll be fine. The skeletal mesh can have just the animation playing for the wings folding down, which even then would be weird. I guess it just depends on how it's designed. Depends on how your content creator is creating the 3D spaceship, I guess. But to answer the question after all that, you should not have to change anything. It just depends on what you're using to determine the movement of your skeletal mesh. Traditionally, when you use a skeletal mesh, it's used for like a character most of the time, or a monster, or something that's animated. So it's going to have like a capsule component, and you're going to use the capsule component for the physics and movement. And since you're using, like you said, you're using add local rotation. You see, you're using add local rotation, so that shouldn't be an issue. And add force is going to be for the physics. You should be fine, assuming you've set it up properly. 8-shot, is that not what the content browser is for, or is this another way of looking at it? 8-shot, that is correct. The asset browser is supposed to be, according to this, it's a specialized version of the content browser. It's intended to give you things like disk size, memory usage, and properties. That is all this asset window is supposed to be. So try playing and ejecting and then running the asset audit thing. I can do that. I don't think it's going to do anything, but I guess it can't hurt. That is, shoot, I need to, we need to actually fix the stuff that broke when we crashed it. So, oh wait, hold on. Let's just get rid of this because it's going to have issues. There we go. Okay, so we're playing. We'll eject. We will go to Asset Auditor, and we will refresh does nothing. I know we have a mannequin in here. Of course, he's not. Isn't he spelled mannequin? Isn't he skeletal mannequin? Where's he at? SK_ mannequin. So he's technically an asset, right? SK_. Nope, technically he doesn't count as an asset class. So is he a managed asset? Nope. Nope. Let's see. Mannequin. Nope. Well, what's his blueprint class then? He has third-person character, so we'll try that. And of course, I have to type it up here. Third-person character. Nope. See, all that happens when I click on it is it says selected. It doesn't actually let me do anything. We'll put it in here. Nope. Nope. Don't know. I'm running. Still can't get it to work. Should be working. Somehow. Obviously, we're missing something really stupid and simple. I will be 100% honest. I think it's my fault, and I think we're missing something really simple and stupid. But unfortunately for most people, they're probably going to go about it roughly the same way I am, and if it doesn't work easily, then it's super confusing. Let's see. Material from face index. Yeah, we covered that one. That one's useful when you hit something, you want to see what material it hit. Animation modifiers. The new play montage blueprint node. Collision view. Or new collision view and stack mesh option. Okay, so let's see what the new collision view looks like. Because the old collision view sucked. I'm going to be honest there. Let's grab a rock. Let's see what our collision looks like on a rock. Ooh. Okay, so you can show the different collision types now, so that's handy. Before it only showed one of them as far as I know. I could be wrong, but you couldn't choose simple and complex. Okay, so that's helpful. Let's see. Yep, separate options for viewing simple and complex collision for stack mesh. Cool. That is super helpful. That is nice, because before you couldn't do that, and that looks a lot better. Okay, so that's a nice little feature. Custom collision. Basically, I'm planning to use the custom collision from the old stack mesh and the new skeletal mesh. Should be fine, and indeed the skeletal mesh is for wings and thruster animation. Yeah, then you should be fine. You're basically just going to be... I don't think you're using physics for your animation. You're going to be using fixed animations, probably like keyframed. So your actual... transform changes and your add force should not have an issue. You should be fine. My expectation is that you're fine. That's about all I can guess at. And then the new color grading setup. So they use that new HSV setting. Okay. Mobile rendering. Let's see. Kinematic bodies. Garbage collection, audio engine, Steam Audio, clothing solver. I don't know how to use the clothing solver, and I have nothing inside the system to try out with the clothing solver, so I can't play with it. For debugging, smaller Android executable. Okay, that's kind of cool. Smaller Android executable. Cool. Slate performance improvements. We knew that. Streaming audio, WebGL2 support, voice chat support on Android. Interesting. Retargeting poses. Okay, so that's normal. Remove support for Visual Studio to 2013. Material graph. Vertex interpolator. Okay, so yeah, that's for material work. Shot. Edit sequences. Sequencer. Yeah, you know what's funny about all this? The biggest change that I found useful for me was this one right here. And let's see if it should be in here, if I'm correct. Yep, it is. It's this right here, the pre-construct node. That is the most useful thing that I think they added into the engine, because I'm a blueprinter, that isn't even mentioned anywhere. And what that is, so let's grab our designer. Let's grab a button like this. Let's grab a text and put it on there. Set our variable to that, and we'll go and save that. And then we'll do text. We'll set text like this, and the text will be new text. We'll do that, and then we will blueprint button. There we go. So we can see it says new text. Cool. When we're in here, however, though, it doesn't say new text. It just says text block. So if we have a variable that we're using, so let's say, for example, we have a variable, and this is the text variable. And this is going to be text, and we'll put this, and we'll call this compile save. We're going to replace this with our text variable. We'll call this new text. So let's say we have a variable that we're using to store a value. Previously to this, so we'll go ahead and run this again. It'll still say new text. You couldn't preview the changes in the editor because everything was done at runtime. The pre-construct node actually fires off in the editor. So we can actually hook this up in the pre-construct node, and run this, and you'll notice it says new text now. That is really handy because when you have sub widgets, so for example, let's say this was a calculator or a custom widget that we're creating for somebody, and we're allowing them to edit that information externally because it's exposed on spawn and things like that. Before, your preview was crappy looking. So we'll do this. This is what I mean by this. This is one I like. I think this is really cool. Okay, of course. Here, let's see. Oh, okay, you just called it text. That's what I called it. There we go. Whoops. Okay, so save that as text, compile and save. So that's good. That's exactly how we'd expect it. We'll unhook that one up like that. We'll expose this variable like that. And okay, so cool, we're there. Now we can make a new user interface. And here's a calculator. And we'll put our button in here, and you'll notice it only says text block. And this could say, you know, attack. But it's never going to update in here in our editor because it's not done at runtime. So we'll change our example map to the calc right here. Here we go. So this shows text block, this shows attack, and this shows attack. But there's no way of confirming. So imagine if we were making like a calculator or something else and we want to test things, you can't do it in the editor. But with the pre-construct button, now that we have the pre-construct option like that, it will actually work properly. And you'll notice now the button, we can drag our buttons in and they can be edited inside the editor, even though it's a child. Like that. And that's not something you could do before. That, I think, is a great change for people who work with blueprints and user interfaces. But it's not even on the list. But that was one of those little hidden things that you won't know about until the actual game engine comes out. Let's see. Hi, Matt. I'd like to have a secondary camera follow the player from a predetermined position, like in front of the player or at a different target location. When the player fires, a few seconds later, the secondary camera can be viewed. If the player fires, it pushes another preview of the shot, like in a movie. You can... Okay, so let's see. Since we're already in here, we might as well just start stealing stuff from in here. So let's say we're using... we're going to call this guy test character. And we'll make a new game mode. Let's see if we can do something with that. And I did see the other question from Prophet. Give me a second. Cost one, our new game mode. And our default pawn is going to be our test character. Let's see if we can do this right. We should have... We don't have test character. Why don't we have test character? Did I not do that right? Oh, we don't... Oh, because the stupid third person, stupid example project comes with someone plugged in. I always forget that. There we go. So now we have our test character. Let me get rid of my UI. There we go. Okay, so now we have a test character to play with. Prophet's question was, how would you have an AI move somewhere in C++? That one, unfortunately, I don't know. I do not use C++ in Unreal Engine, so unfortunately, I can't help you. I can tell you that well, I can tell you for sure, every single node in Blueprint has a backing C++ node. So, for example, you're saying AI move somewhere. So you probably use something like the AI move to node, which is right here. And this node is inside of, well, you could use AI move to or symbol move to, for example. Either one would work. These things are in the GitHub. So give me a second. I'm not logged into GitHub because I wiped everything yesterday. So let me log into GitHub. There we go. So I am in GitHub and I'm trying to attach. Can we please attach? Really? Thank you. Okay, so let's find Unreal Engine. So here's Unreal Engine. Of course, it would help if I actually clicked on Unreal Engine. There we go. So for example, we have the node AI move to. If we look for AI move, more likely it's going to be one thing. AI move to. Here we go. AI move to. Here's the node itself, and it's a K2 node AI move to. Here's the header. Here's the AI task move to node right here. So here is the node itself right here, and here's all the code in C++ that calls our move to. So you have the code itself, and there's nothing, first of all, stopping you from copying the code and using it as is, or just calling the code yourself from inside of your project. We have a perfectly good node called AI move to that takes in all of the stuff and then does your AI move to, returns your task, just like if we're in here, returns back all of our information. The simple move to is in there as well. You can copy that code if you want to. So I don't know exactly how to do it in C++ because I choose not to use C++. I think of simple move to location, yeah. C++, but every node has a backing C++ block. So that's something to know. Can we please search? Okay, enter isn't searching. Why is nothing working for me today? Simple move to location. Enter. Enter. There we go. So there's simple move to location right here. And that's just simply calling the navigation system, calling simple move to location, passing in the controller, telling it where, oh, this is actually the one for the top-down character. But yeah, simple move to location and then the location. So actually, this one's really simple. Simple move to location, destination, and the controller of who you're moving. So that would probably be the easiest way for you to do it. Just steal the code from Epic's codebase because it works fine. Let's see. Back to Mojo's question. So, we were working on a character. So we have our character here, and he wants to know about adding in a secondary camera that follows from player from a predetermined position, like in front of the player. So here's our existing setup. You can add another camera, no problem. Just add another camera. And that camera can be wherever you want. So here's my first camera. Here's my second camera. You just put the camera wherever you want it. So like, for example, here is a camera in front of the player following him at all times. And it's always going to be there because it's relative to the capsule component. So that's how you can easily have a secondary camera follow the player. Just set it up in the blueprint like you would the primary camera. Now, if the player fires and then pushes another button to view that shot, like in the movie, what you would do is the node you care about, so let's go ahead and do 5 on the keyboard. And the node you care about is set view target with blend, which is always hiding because it's part of the camera. There we go. So this is the node you care about. And we'll get our player controller, because there's only one camera set up per player controller. And then you tell it the new camera. So in this case, it would be this camera, which we're not going to be able to plug in because of the fact that it is not an actor. We'd have to set it up separately, or we'd have to cast to the appropriate thing to get it to work properly. But you would do this right here. And then this would basically change your current view camera to a secondary camera. The smarter way of doing this is probably something like this. If we want to actually see something working, off the top of my head is second camera location. No, this is, oh, a second. Okay, yeah. So this is just a widget in the world for where our second camera is going to be. So in this case, I can put it like here in front of the player. And we'll put it in front of the player like that. And then you could have at some point, we'll do like begin play. And we can spawn actor from class. And this should be a camera. So this will spawn an actor into the world. We are going to tell it to, we have a transform, right? Yeah, never mind. I can just grab our second camera's location. Get its world location, location. No, meant transform, failed to get saying the word transform. Dang it. One of these days I'll get the right node. World transform. Thank you. There we go. So this will spawn a camera in like this, and then we could do something like attach to actor, and it's gonna go to ourself. This is just me all off the top of my head, and then we're gonna want to attach it to no socket, but we want it in that spot. It's gonna be relative. This might not go in the correct spot, but we'll figure this out in a second. Promote to variable. Like that, like that. I still have another. Yeah, seriously, why is there an extra line? There we go. So this would be like the second camera. Then we should be able to feed our second camera into our other view target like that. If I can grab one camera. Can I please grab one camera? I literally have no idea if this is going to work, but let's find out. 2 seconds. Okay, I'm super curious if this is going to work. Oops, I want to test it in here. Let's find our character. There we go. And we have a camera actor attached. And he's definitely not in the right spot. Yeah, our camera actor, is this where our camera actor's at? Did it reset itself to... Yeah, okay. This will snap back to here like I figured. So our problem is we are not setting the location after we attach it. So we should probably do second camera and set relative. Let's see, relative transform. Set relative transform. Yeah, set actor relative transform. That'll probably work because it is an actor technically. No, see, the relative's not going to work. So we want to set the world transform. I think we want to set the world transform. Hold on a second. This is one of those things where it's so friggin' annoying to get things set up properly because of the way world, relative, and all that stuff works. Okay. No, okay, never mind. We should be able to get relative transform and then set relative transform. Because technically at this point they should both be children, right? It's always fun figuring out stuff, and we'll teleport it over. Okay, let's try that. Oops, gotta test it in here. Find our camera. Okay, I think it's good. It looks like it's relatively off. Let's see, here's our character. And that is our camera actor right there, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, cool, so that was right. Okay, so that worked out. And then if we hit the 5 key, it switches over to our other camera, like that. Okay, so that's the basics of the code that we want to set up, and then you'd have to tweak it as needed. So set view target with blend is the node you use to switch between 2 different cameras. Like Glenn has mentioned in the middle of this, though, you don't need 2 cameras. You can simply change the position of a single camera. So that is perfectly fine as well. You can definitely do that. If you're going to use 2 cameras, though, set view target with blend, giving it the player controller, basically says, hey, player controller, change your camera to a new camera. And you adjust these settings to determine how fast it changes and if it rotates and things like that. Like I told to blend over 2 seconds. You could have it do it immediately, you could have it do it longer, whatever you want. All this setup does is spawn us a new camera in the world, store reference to it, attach that camera to our player, and then move that camera to our attachment point, which was this little scene component I put in here. So that way we can tell it exactly where it's at and rotate it and all that stuff. And then our 5 key, all it did again was set view target. So when it's running like this, we run around, I hit the key, it switches my camera, and now I'm in a completely different camera. That's the way that's set up. And of course I can still move my character, and it's gonna look really weird because now my camera's in front of the player, which is super duper weird. And of course you could do the opposite just by flipping. You can also turn on and off cameras. Actually, I'm curious about this one because if we feed in ourself, because this camera's not going to work into here, we would feed in ourself as the new target. Self, because the way this works is it will grab the camera that's attached to it. But since we actually have 2 cameras attached at this point, will it flip back is the question. It will. Okay. That's what I was curious about. The other option is if you still have issues, is you can always disable the camera so it's not an active target. But it looks like this will find the active camera on this blueprint. And since this is attached, it doesn't count as active on it. That's how you switch it back. Let's see. Have they updated support for multiplayer and blueprints? Access to functions that only C++ could. As far as I know, Mobius, they have not. That is, so other people have exposed them. I don't think they've done much to the Steam stuff in a while. I have not used the Steam stuff, but from what I've seen, other people having to do, they have to code in the, they have to expose the stuff, or they use someone else's plugin. More of a general question. When you're working on a complex blueprint, how do you keep everything in order? I'm struggling a bit to keep up with my own plans. In general, in blueprints, there's a couple different ways. On our live stream, for example, you have the ability to have multiple graphs. So I actually created multiple graphs, and I used a different graph for each section. Technically, well, I've done that in other stuff, but for our live stream, basically, I have the default graph, and then I made a new graph for our custom events, so that way I could keep things separate. So you could use different graphs for every single different thing. Technically, you could have one graph per event if you really wanted it. And then you'd have things really organized because the only thing you'd see on each graph is one thing. So that's a way of organizing pretty simply. Commenting is the biggest thing. Simply being able to look at a overview and seeing what every section does. And you can even color coordinate the graphs too, so that's something to keep in mind too. Comments can be color coordinated, so you could have movement one color, you could have combat another color, so you could easily just look at your graph and look for stuff. You can find anything in case you get lost, just double click on it, so that really helps. So as long as you could just have everything anywhere you want and just keep your graph organized, because that'll keep it in order. How do you keep everything in order, including your brain? That is also why we have a design document. This lets us know everything we need to work on. And then I can bold out the stuff that works properly. So like once we finish with the monster spawn point, I bolded it out. Since we don't have the NPC one done yet, it's not bolded, etc., etc. Maps, we have our 2 maps done. UI, as we start working on the UI. So your design document helps a ton on keeping things organized. Actually make a plan, make a blueprint, a visual blueprint here of everything you need to work on. And then if you want actually, this is just like an overview. In my, when I was working on some projects in Unity, I would make things really simple. I would just make a to-do file and just type in what I needed to work on that I could remember. So for example, make scoreboard. And then, add saving to disk, whatever it was, whatever I need to work on. And then as I'm going through the day and I realize I need to work on something else, add it to the to-do list. And then you could have just a done part, and when you're done, you just move it down to done. And you just basically, as you think of stuff, I'm working in the project, oh, I remember I need to work on this, just add a line to your to-do list so you know it's there. And then when you finish it off, move it to your done list. And your whole goal is to eventually finish your to-do list and everything's done. And that's just a super easy way of keeping everything in order. I mean, it's super simple. Because obviously, well, for me at least, when I'm working on something, and for example, I'm going through, and I'm like, okay, so I added in this feature. Oh, I'm going to need to add in this feature in the future. Oh, I need to finish this feature. Just write down a line. Just take a little quick write down on your line, add it to your to-do list, and you'll hopefully try to remember it. Danielle, the best way to start learning blueprints, architectural visualization. The YouTube channel for actually okay, so technically the Unreal Engine one is where I'd recommend going to. I go to Unreal Engine, I would find our here we go, documentation section, and then find the blueprints section, and then down here is general scripting, video blueprint essentials, and this gives you overviews of blueprints, and it also has tons of other sections in here: how to script, intro to blueprints, quick start guide. This is where you want to go for your basic intro to blueprints and learning stuff, all directly from Unreal Engine, all going through their entire blueprint section. And you'll find that they will take you to, let's go to YouTube for a second. Can I go to YouTube? You're not going to let me go, seriously not going to let me go to YouTube? If you end up on their YouTube channel, you'll find their, maybe it was that one. Was that one that I wanted? No, that's the overview. I think that's the one I want. Hold on a second. No, that's the different one. But there is a playlist in here that actually is decent for architectural visualization. Is the editor one? No, of course I can't find it. But there is one in here somewhere in the Get It Started section, which deals with building out a room, adding in a door, making the door functional, adding in lights that are functional, things like that. It's in here somewhere, and of course I can't find it. This one. I think this is it, right? I'm pretty sure this one's... Yeah, here we go. Intro to level creation. So this one walks over the basics of blocking out a level, adding in some stuff, adding in things like a sliding door using blueprints and lights and things like that. So the official Unreal section is where I would start off with. Let's see. 8 Shots asking a question about Imager. I'm way behind on chat, by the way, guys. So I'm definitely not ignoring anybody. I'm just way behind. 8 Shot is asking, what is he doing wrong here? I don't know. What are you doing wrong here? What doesn't work, in case you haven't said it already? Let's see. Construction. First thing, you're going to get all widgets of class master inventory. Okay. And if you do have one, cast it to master interface. I don't know if the first one would work. Where are you creating the actual widget? But okay, get all actions of class inventory. Set it to the interface reference. And then if you don't have one, you're going to spawn an inventory blueprint. Okay, so so that's probably where you store your number of bags. Let's see, get all widgets of class slot. So here's your issue. Get all widgets. Yeah, so you've got a couple issues here. You're not actually, you don't have parents or any of this type of stuff. I mean, okay, so this is in your, it looks like your inventory widget is what this looks like it's in. Is what this looks like. Add channel, child, slot reference. Yeah, see, you're not actually creating anything. And you can't add, you have to actually physically create a widget for every single slot. Is what you have to do. How would you rotate it? How would you rotate? Oh, let's see. Let me go back to this. How would you rotate it around the object? Say mesh being displayed inside a widget window. Scene capturing. Click the object and move a mouse and item rotate. Okay. CB. I actually did a video on item inspection. Someone asked this exact same question. And I will go back to 8 Shot. Obviously, it's not working, I think, is the issue that you're having here. Oh, it looks like this is a trailer for Dark Tower. I'm gonna have to check that out when we're done here. But to answer your question, CB, we did a video called Unreal Concept, Simple, Interact, and Inspect. Yeah. Wait, no, it's time. I need this right here. Here we go. So for CB, this is the video for the Simple, Interact, and Inspect, and it should cover what you're looking for. We have the ability to click on an item. Once I click on an item, come on, pick it up. There we go, and it moves to me. I can rotate the item around after we've picked it up, and then I can drop the item back to where we picked it up from. And we did a video covering that, and that was based on the official Unreal Engine. And I'm already on YouTube, so let's see, Unreal Engine. So I have a video covering that, and then Zach did a video for a puzzle game, which is where I stole the code from right here. Blueprint making a 3D puzzle game, and he made a puzzle game where, like you can see here, you can use the mouse to spin the item around. And I use the same basic concept. So those are the two places I would suggest going to for that one, CB. Did you just write to do? Yes, I did write to do. What does GDD stand for? Global Design Document, Game Design Document, General Design Document, Something Design Document. Hack and Plan is a great solution to keeping stuff organized. Yep. Artisy Draft is a really good program to do that as well. I use Documents just because I'm lazy and it's free. Let's see. Do you know how to make my character play the open and enter car when I hit the enter car button? I know how to enter drive and exit the car, but nobody explained how to play animations. Have you looked at how to do animations yet? There are YouTube videos on animations. You'll basically just tell the car to play its animation or to set a flag on if you're using an add-in blueprint. So for example, we go to the Unreal Engine section. Once again, and then we look at their animation stuff. They have right here, third-person game intro to animations blueprint. So that's one video. This is where you get introduced to the animations, and it shows you how animations are set up and how you'd set them up inside an add-in blueprint. So that's your first basic one. Animation montages are a way to trigger. You could just make an animation montage of your door opening and play montage. That's the easy way to do it. So for example, I quickly walk through that one. You could do an animation montage, and this would be your car, for example, because your car has to be a skeletal mesh to have a door open and close, assuming you're using an animation. So this would be like a door open montage. Obviously it's for my player, but it's the same thing. And you can assign something to it. So in this case, let's say we'll do run. And here is our run. Here's our montage. So our entire montage does this. So imagine this is your door opening. So this is a montage, and it's called door open montage. And all you'd have to do is somewhere in your blueprint, for example, you just do play montage. Montage. And you tell it the montage. So in this case, it'll be the door. You target whatever it is. So in this case, it'll be the... am I in the player? Yes, I am. Okay, so we're going to target the anim montage. So I need to get the anim instance. Right here. Seriously, oh, this is my character. Wait. Oh yeah, because it's gonna get the default. Yep. Never mind. This one gets the default anim instance, is what it does. But you can do something like that. There's also let's see, new versions of it in 4.16. But a montage is a super simple way of doing it. But that's assuming you're using a skeletal mesh for your door. If it's just a door that's attached without using animation, then you just rotate the door open and close. So how is your door actually set up? Is your car a skeletal mesh with doors that animate? You have animation, as in you actually have a pre-built animation that runs, is the question. Fluid simulation. Look at something like Houdini. Unreal Engine does not really support fluid simulations out of the door as far as I know. It's not creating the slot widgets. Yeah, you're not actually creating the slot widgets, 8shot, from everything that I saw. We'll go back to that picture that you sent us. This is just adding in the slot widgets. If you looked at my example, which is gone now, I actually created the widget and then added the widget we created. You can't, you're not creating the widget anywhere in here. You're not creating your slot widget. You have to physically create, if you have 20 slots, then you need 20 slot widgets created. That's just what you'd want. So you need to create your widgets. CV, the concept should work through the widget. It should. Wow, I'm way behind in chat. Let's see. Do you think it's possible to make a flying AI blueprint? I mean, the AI could fire at some speed and turn and check if there's obstacles. I don't see why not. There is a blueprint. There is a template for flying. There is a hover component you could use to simulate flying. You could just simply move it by hand to simulate flying. And all you'd have to do is look in front of it with like a line trace. And if you hit, the classic way of pathfinding, like super classic way of pathfinding, would be to just simply check and see if anything's in front of you. So like, for example, if our player was right here and he was moving forward, he would, let's pretend this little red line is a line trace. He would see if there's something in front of him. And if he hits that, he would just simply look to the left or the right, see if there's anything to the left or the right, and he could move left or right based on what he's hitting. So as long as you have enough distance, for example, you could kind of fake it where your character, let's put him over here, for example. I mean, it's kind of hard, but if he's just going forward, which is, of course, he's not backwards, but he's going forward, he hits something, he can simply keep moving left until he gets past and then goes forward again. That's your really simple way. So you could fake a flying AI in blueprints just by using a lot of line traces. You could fire like 3 of them in front of him, like one from here, one from here, one from here. And then, for example, the front one hits, check the 2 on the sides. This one hits, and this one doesn't. You move him to the right and have him just go to the right until it doesn't hit again, and then you move him forward. So you'd fake your AI that way. When using a landscape and changing the sun to night, it still lights objects from below. Yep, that is correct. You have to shut off the sun. We actually did a video regarding this one. For the most part, shut the sun off. There is an actual... we did this for someone else. Give me a second, Mobius. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But give me a second, Mobius. I'll cover that one in a second. 8shot. I don't know my way around UMG too well. Yeah, so let me 8shot, let me finish up showing this other person, then let me quickly show you an expandable user interface. So yeah, let me show the other one first. So we need to find our sky sphere first of all, which is actually in the engine content. Of course, it's not, it'll be in here. Hold on a second. Engine content, and then sky. Here we go. So this is the blueprint for the sky sphere. And this is set inside of, where's it at? We actually did an entire thing and then figured out we didn't have to. Somewhere in here is the option for where the sun is at. I can't remember where it's at. You kind of need to hack this a little bit is what it is. Darn it, we did this. I did this for someone, and I'm pretty sure I already deleted the... you know what? It might still be in my playground. Hold on a second. Let's see if it's in my playground. I need to pull this over from my other drive. So let me find that first. Because like I said, I was working on... cleaning everything up the other day. So here's the playground. Let me toss this into my projects folder for now. Let's see what we've got. Oh, it won't take that. It's only like 2 gigs, so that won't take too long. If we're lucky, we still have that one. Yeah, don't worry about an 8-shot. Everyone has questions. It's not too much of an issue. We've got a little bit of time. I think it'd be fun to try to show a really quick, basic, adjustable inventory system. If I'm lucky, I still have the other project. So let me see if I do. How can you make a CB? Nothing was actually supposed to be worked on for the MMO today. It was just 4.16 in question, so I wasn't too worried. Cliftonic, is it possible to make an AI say like Aliens, Isolation, Unreal? As far as I know, it's possible to do anything in Unreal Engine. It is up to your skill and your abilities. You have hunt, you have different, basically you can use a behavior tree, you have different hunting and seeking. You get all the information in the game's available to you, so you can have it sneak up, you can have it hide. I don't see why it's not possible. Let's see, no name user. Actually animate the character. Because your question was how to play the animations. Yeah, you would basically do the same thing. Check those videos out that I mentioned about the animations, no name. But you'd play an animation on the player just by playing a montage or switching the state in the animation blueprint. You need to look at animation blueprints. Okay, so my playground's still compiling shaders. Rodrigo, how would I sense collision? Let's say a spaceship hits some wall and calculates if it will be destroyed or not, and also collision of that AI, how it would work. You have collision. Every item in the game that's using can have a collision volume on it. So our player, for example, if I can figure out where he went to. I have a filter on. There we go. Our player has a capsule component. Our capsule component has collision events. So just when you collide with something, when you hit something or overlap something, do your math and then determine destruction. Like for 8 shots for micromending, you'd use a collision sphere. So it's pretty simple on that one. It's not that difficult on that one. Buck is asking, how can you make a Gears of War reload system? If you press R at the right time, it reloads faster. Reload, for something like that, your reload animation you have a reload timer. So for example, you have like a half a second delay between reloading each bullet. When they go to do the reload, for example, they'll say, okay, so there's multiple, okay, sorry, let's step back. I was thinking more of reloading like a 6-shooter. I've been playing too much Revenant lately in Paragon. But if we're talking about reloading the entire clip, then you have your reload animation and you have your reload timer. So let's say it takes 2 seconds to play a stock reload. It starts the animation, you have your little progress bar or your indicator for your quick reload on the screen. That plays off after like a second or so. After a second or so, it gets to your indicator. It's just art. It's just art that's going on the screen. You have the player react to it, so they hit the R button, for example. You check to see how far long it is for the reload. So start reloading, count your timer. Player hits the R button. Player hits the R button at 1.01 seconds. Your quick reload is between 0.95 seconds and 1.1 seconds. Did the player push the button between the two? If so, play the flash animation on the screen, finish the reload immediately. Just immediately reload, don't wait for any time or anything like that. That's probably the quickest way of doing that. But it requires animation and things like that, because you want it to sync up properly. But it's basically just keeping track of time. Okay, so let's see. The playground should be open. So shoot, what do I think that was called? Time of day dispatcher? No. See, the problem is I'm starting to think I didn't do that inside of here. Let's see. Animation, array, fun. I can't see because my cat got in my way. Give me a second. Let's see. Boss, blob shattering, car enter, character, widget, curves, day-night sphere. Aha! Hold on. We might still have it. I don't think we got the... I don't think we ever got the other part working right, but I think we got the day-night part working right. Oh, wait, hold on. No, did we not get the other part working right? I think, never mind. I think this was us just working on trying to get the, yeah, shoot. Okay, but that means it's probably in here somewhere, which is good, in theory. Time of day. Yeah, see, the time of day dispatcher was just turning things on and off based on the time of the day, but it didn't actually stop the light. Darn it. I wonder if we didn't actually save it in here. Because this, in theory, is what we're looking at, and the day-night sphere has the values inside of here. Because we had on the... sun height, yeah. Oh, I wish I could find it in here. No, I don't have that in here, unfortunately. But if we look at this one, we actually set it up where the light's not... If I remember correctly, the light's not... No, the light is still on the bottom, right? We did this one right. Oh, man. Well, I can't remember, but anyways, there is a variable called sun height, is what it is. It is in a previous live stream, but you have the variable sun height, and all you have to do is basically you need to adjust the oh wow, the brain is just not working. Just adjust the brightness of the light based on the sun height variable is what it is. And if the sun height is, so you could either set it at a certain range, because you'll see you've got -1 to 1 is what it is. So let's see if we could really quickly, maybe we could really quickly remember how to do this. Let's see. Yeah, I have a feeling it's in here somewhere. I just don't remember where it's at. Let's see, blueprint class, BB night. Let's see. We have our sky sphere here. Let's see. So we want to get all actors of class. Sky sphere. Day-night sky sphere. Did I make a custom one called day-night sky sphere? Is that what I did? Did I make a custom one? Oh, well, anyways, not a big deal. We'll figure this out. Get, let's see, promote to variable. Whoops, stop it. Okay, so this should give us our sky sphere. And then get sun height. And no, we want to set it up on the tick. This is what I want to do. Get, yeah, let's see. Get sun height. Frame string. Here, let's see if this does what I expect it to do. Can I have this over here? Thank you. Oh, we don't have the sun rotating, so that really doesn't help. Let's see. So it was our light source. Yeah, that's right. There's a couple things. So let's see. Get all actors of class. What was that? That is. Oh, why don't I just? That's a directional light. I could always. Screw it. It's a direction. Wait. Directional light. It's just so much easier. Variable, plug this one in like this, and this is our directional light. Okay, so and then grab the directional light, add local rotation. Can I please have my nodes when I select them? Thank you. I want to say it was, is it going to be 1 on the Y? I don't know. Let's find out what happens. I think we need to update, and then we have to refresh. Wait. Oh, so light source isn't movable, so that really doesn't help. Okay, there we go. So you can see we have our light source rotating around like that. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. And then if we grab our sky sphere, there should be a refresh node, I think is what it's called. Shoot, what was it called? No, we need to find the stupid, where'd it go? Where's my sky sphere? What was the stupid node called? Because this runs, that's a construction script. Let's see. Update sun direction, I think that's what it was called. Oops. I think this is it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So there's update sun, and then whoa, our sun. I don't think I should have done it on the Y. Where'd our sun go? Okay, I don't think it was on the Y. Maybe it's on the Z. Let's find out. Okay, there's the sun. Wait, I just saw it. Okay, so that's technically working. Okay. And you'll notice on the left-hand side, we have a number there, which is our basically where it's at. 0 indicates it's above, 1 negative, 0 to 1, 1 to 0 indicates above the bottom, above the ground, and 0 to negative 1 indicates below. So you could do something like, in this case, and we're just going to check this every tick. So we want the sky sphere, and this is the one we're printed out. So we'll get the sun height, and if sun height is less than 0, then we grab our directional light and set active. No, disable, enable. Oh, for Pete's sake, what's it called? I guess we could turn the light down, but can I just shut it off? Which of course I can't remember. I can, right? With my blueprint. Can I just disable the stupid light? Oh, I guess I could do visible. Visible would work, right? Yeah, visible work. Okay. I knew there was something in there. Set visibility. No, actor, set actor hidden again. I will do actor. There's lots of options you have here. We'll just do hidden. Hidden should work. Let's see. And if not, we'll make sure it is not hidden. Yeah, let's see. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, I see. I thought it was visibility as well, but visibility did not cooperate with me on that one. See, set actor hidden. I mean, I could toggle the visibility of the light component, I guess. Set the visibility of the light component. But I just want the actual light itself. But, oh well. We can do that as well. Okay, so... the way I did it before when we were trying this out is we basically adjusted the intensity of the light. is what we did. And then it basically set the light intensity between the max and the min, depending on if it was up or down. So it would fade out as needed. Okay, so if we did this right... Okay, so we have no light. You can see that we have no light on our player at all. And if I flip these, so it is like this, we should only have light when it's under the player, which is kind of hard to see because it's only there for a little bit. And if we put these in the correct order, we should have light when it's above, and then light, yeah. So we should only have light when it's above our zenith. Well, or whatever you call that. And it's kind of, yeah. So that's the basics of what we're looking at, that one. Yeah, setting intensity is generally what I would do. But the keys here are your sky sphere has a sun height variable. The sun height variable determines between 0 and 1, with 0 being, -1 and +1, with 0 being the middle, where the sun is. 1 being at the top, -1 being at the bottom. So by using the sun height, you can go ahead and determine if the sun itself should be visible or not. If something should be happening. In this case, whether our light component should be on or off. That's what I was trying to say. We did cover this at one point in time, and we actually did a bunch of custom code. We spent probably 2 hours, and then we found on accident that there was already a sun height variable inside of the stupid sky sphere. And like 8Shot's mentioning, yeah, if you use a skylight, you need to set that as well. Pretty much any lights need to be enabled, or you can do whatever you want. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's how you would do that. And I know we had other questions, so let's see if we can jump back into those. It's not Diablo, because Ryan's being Ryan. Makes a material in Megascans, gets the make material attributes node and plugs in materials and lerp and automated. Yeah. I don't know much about materials. I don't think I can help you without that one. Yes, CB, you are correct. I did have that in the files. We just never actually did it because it's a lot harder than I thought it would be. We got halfway through it, which is what you see right. This one, we got halfway through it, and I could never get the moon working right. Let's see. Okay, I have a doubt. Did GTA use only dynamic shadows for everything? Because the sun shadows change in real time. I doubt it used dynamic shadows for everything. It could have used dynamic shadows only for important things and used baked shadows for everything else. So like your characters might have dynamic shadows, and your certain environmental things might have dynamic shadows, tall buildings, trees, and things like that. But I don't think your smaller stuff would have dynamic shadows. I don't really know. GTA is a weird engine. I know I was supposed... Oh, yeah, we were going to do... The last thing we were going to do was that inventory thing. So let's see if we can knock that out. Okay, so... So for our example, and of course you can set this up however you want, we are going to do a slot. And we're actually going to call this an inventory slot. Inventory slot. And then we're going to have a user interface for our... This is our player screen. And then we're actually going to have another user interface called inventory. We're going to do it like this. And our inventory slot is going to be an image. And it's going to be wrapped with a size box. And the size box is going to force it to 32 by 32. So that way we just have something that is correct. Now our inventory is going to be our wrap box. And it's going to be, what did we figure out we wanted this? 10 and 10? Yeah, we're going to go with something like that. Okay, cool. So there's our inventory. And then our player screen is just what we're using for our screen. And I kept them separate on purpose. Let me save everything just in case we crash. So we could easily just add our inventory in and size our inventory to the way we want it. And that way I can then name it. So this will be our inventory box. And this is what I want our inventory to look like. Just like this. We're going to put it just like that. And then our player screen could have something, a function in it, for example. So we're going to make a custom event. We're going to call this refresh inventory. Yeah, we'll just call it refresh. Let's see. Let's go with let's call it something better. Inventory size changed. There we go. Inventory size changed. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to call this new size. We're going to spell new size properly. And we'll make this an integer. So this will handle updating our stuff. So in this case, we are going to, for each loop, and now I'm going to write this up, and then I'm going to backtrack, fix it so we can change the size, and you'll see exactly my process here. Now I didn't mean for each, I meant for. My brain just always does for each. Okay, because we're going to want to loop this through between 1 and the new size. Now this might be off by 1. We're going to have to figure that out. That is part of programming. And yep. I'm actually going to kind of pretend that I'm doing this properly. So our let's see, variables, let's see, inventory slot widgets. There we go. And we'll call this one an array. Can I have an array, please? Thank you. And this will be a slot. What do we call it? We called it inventory slot. There we go. Okay. So this is going to be an array of slots. So that way my inventory is going to keep track of everything that's inside of it. Well, the inventory widget is going to keep track of the widget inside of it. That's what I meant to do. You don't necessarily need that, but you might need it for some reason. So we need to make sure we create widgets. If we don't have widgets, then we can't fill out our inventory. So we're going to create new slot widgets. And in this case, after I create them, I'm going to grab my inventory box and I'm going to get the variable that I just created, inventory slot widgets, and I'm going to add the one that I just created to it, like that. So that's why I created that variable for. So that way my inventory widget will keep track of the widgets inside of it. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. This is just, we're looping through, so I just thought it'd be easier just to go 1 through number, because then people go 0, then I do -1, and it just, people start freaking out because numbers don't match up, and yeah. I agree. There's so many different ways. But this will create a widget, give a reference to that widget to our inventory itself, and then we need to actually add it. So we'll add child, and we actually need our inventory box, so let's try this again. Add child. Okay, seriously? Oh, no, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it would help if we actually did this properly. So, inventory, and then this is our inventory box. There we go, and that's a variable. That's what I meant to do. Now, did I name these things the same? I did. So let's not do that the same. So this one in the player screen is actually the inventory. Yeah, we need to make sure we name these properly, or I'm going to get completely confused because I changed the way this works. So this is the inventory widget. There we go. So this is the inventory widget, and then inside the inventory widget is the inventory box, which is our wrap box. Yeah, we could have called this inventory wrap box. wonder if that would be smarter. I think that, you know, I'm going to go ahead and do that. If I can remember to open these things up properly. I'm going to name these things so we know exactly what they are. There we go. Grab the widget, grab the wrap box in the widget, and then add child to the wrap box. Like that. There we go. I just figured naming things might be better. That way we can try to confuse ourselves as little as possible. Okay. And if this is set up correctly, when we call this, it should loop through, create, add. Okay, so this should be fine if we create it correctly. So, let's give ourselves a player. And this one is our inventory player. Okay, so here's our inventory player. And he is going to create a widget. Begin play. Wow, I'm listening. This has got to be Conquer Bad Fur Day soundtrack. Yep. Okay, so this is the player's screen. We're going to add, create a reference to it. And keep in mind, if you're not exactly catching everything as I'm doing it, I'm going to go back over everything so it's not even a big deal. Let's see. So this is the player screen widget. And then we'll add this to our viewport. And this should put the screen widget on the screen. Nothing should happen. We probably don't even have our player in our world, so that really doesn't matter. So let's actually do that. Blueprint, game mode, inventory. This, by the way, is how my stuff gets out of, gets unorganized. I just start doing multiple things in the same project. And then the world goes to heck in a handbasket. Okay, there we go. Inventory player, inventory game mode. That's what I was checking. So here's our inventory player. He creates the widget. We don't actually have anything in the widget, so it's not even a big deal. We'll get this, and we will, what do we call it? Update, change, inventory size change. That's what I was trying to do. We'll hook this up here until we set this for testing, and we'll do 10. We'll see what happens here. There we go. Okay. So that's a basic inventory we can create, and it could be whatever size we wanted. So 27, and it'll give us 27 of them. If we were to 1 key and 2 key, whoops. Okay, my mouse just, okay, well, apparently I can't scroll. There we go, thank you. We're going to do this, and we're going to do this. Oops, we can do this. And then we're going to create a new variable, and this will be inventory player. Inventory size, not inventory player size. We'll make this a integer. Or we'll try to make this an integer. There we go. We'll start the player off with 10 inventory slots. So we'll copy this back up here. Now we have a variable set up. Okay, I think my mouse stopped cooperating. There we go. Inventory size, check. And now we're going to inventory size. And inventory size. All right, that's what we want to see right there. That's what we want to see. There we go. That's what we want to see right there. Press the 2 button, and it's going to go down. Press the 1 button, and it's going to go up. Actually, I'm going to switch that because it looks weird the other way. Grab our inventory size, and we're going to, let's see, the 2 buttons and increment. So we're going to add 1 inventory slot every time we push the 2 button. And then we're going to decrement every time we push the 1 button. So if we did this right, we should start off with 10 slots. And if I push the 2 button, apparently we are, oh yeah, okay, so yeah, we're good. We're exactly where we should be. Hopefully everyone knows exactly what's going on here. We set everything up properly. All this code works, all this code works. The problem is here, our loop takes the number, our new size, loops through, creates that many widgets, adds those widgets, and then adds those widgets. So that's super duper. But the problem is this value is new size. This value is not how many more or less there should be. And we're never actually clearing out the children. We're just always adding new ones. That's why I said we're going to go ahead and do this backwards. So what we want to do is grab our actual old inventory, and then we can just clear children. Now this might not be the most efficient way of doing this, but it works in terms of what we want. So for example, 2 button adds, 1 button subtracts. Because all we're doing is saying, I push the button, inventory number goes up, we come into our widget clears out all the children, and then creates a brand new bunch of children based on the size. Probably not the most efficient way of doing this, but you also have to think, how often are you actually changing the size of your inventory? Probably not a big deal. You'll have to think about reassigning things is about your biggest problem, because once we wipe this, any internal references we kept, like for example, if you were actually assigning IDs to these widgets, maybe this widget is ID 12 because it's holding the item in his 12th inventory, or however you're actually managing your inventory is kind of a separate system. One thing you can think of though is it's called the model view controller, but I hate how it's called the model view controller because I don't like the name, but basically separate your data from your view and from handling your data. So keep your things separate. So if you treat your user interface as just displaying information, but not holding information, then you can manipulate your information and not really affect things, or you can have your display change without having to worry about changing your data. So in this case, you could have your display, which is these items right here, simply display what you tell it. So our inventory, for example, so here's our player, and we can make a new variable called inventory. And we'll give him, I'm gonna go strings. I'm gonna go with an array of strings. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, cool, that'll work. And then I'm going to, what do I want to do? Get, and we'll add, and we'll just add, let's see, 1, it's a string. I don't know why I was putting quotes. And then, you know, we'll add 3, and then we'll add something like 5. There we go. So our actual inventory, which is stuff, is just going to hold 3 things in it. And I also realized that this is not going to work because of the fact that, wait, does it resize? Does adding resize? I always forget. You know what? Crap. I don't know. We'll find out. Actually, I'm curious about this. Let's find out. Resizing arrays always bites me in the ass. That's why I'm mentioning this. I can never remember what does and doesn't resize an array. Yeah, okay, cool. Add automatically resizes. I always get that. I think it's a set array element that bites me in the butt. Samuel, yes, these videos will be uploaded once we are done. So this is what I'm trying to get at. So we can ignore all of this stuff. We can have a new function on here called refresh, oops, custom event, refresh inventory display. So something like that. And all this is going to do is grab our player character and get his, what do we call it, inventory? Oh, I need to cast it, don't I? Cast to inventory player, get the inventory, and this gives us all the stuff that's actually in the inventory. So inventory size changed. Once this is done, we'll go and refresh the inventory. And we'll move this one down like this. Okay, cool. So this should give us our inventory, and then we can for each through this, like this. And then, let's see, so we want these things right here. And we're going to grab this one, and we're going to get, yeah, see, No, okay, so we're not going to get, we're going to, crap, I want this, I want, crap. Let's see. I want to grab that widget. Yeah, see, the problem is it's not going to, Because when I do this, it's just going to give me the copy. It's not going to give me a reference, so which is an issue. Unless I set the element. I guess I could set... Oh, can I just set? Yeah, never mind. This will work. Yeah, because we don't actually need the original one. Okay, so it's going to match our inventory to our widgets. And then we're going to... Oh, no, because that's what I'm setting... Oh, wait. Okay, my brain is not functioning right now, so give me a second here. Here's my inventory slot, which is a size box with an image. Let's change this into a button with some text. Let's see, item name, we'll call it item name. It's gonna get me a copy. Oh, let's see if that happens here. I actually don't know what's gonna happen because I thought it used to do this by reference. Now it's doing it by now it's doing it by copy instead of reference. Set info. We'll call it set info. Yeah, let's see what happens. We'll call this one name. Try to call his name. Yeah, this is the other way of doing it. Yeah, we have multiple ways of doing everything. Obviously, we're trying to figure this out. So we're gonna get this one, and then we're going to set item name. No, I want get item. No, I want what did I call the stupid function? Now I've closed this thing down. I forgot what I called it. Set info. That's what I meant to do. Set info. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work properly, to be honest. We're gonna find out. I just don't think it's gonna work properly. Oh, well, let's see what happens. Yeah, see, that did not work properly. Okay. Oh, well, yeah, that was silly. I kind of, oh well, let's try setting this the other way here. Let's just have we push the button. I know why that didn't work at least this time. Yeah, but see, it's still not working properly for what I expect. It didn't work the first time because I was setting the text afterwards, which is obviously not what we want. But I have a feeling this stuff is not firing off properly. Yeah, see, because we get the inventory slot, we set the info, and then this should be setting, if we step again, this should be setting the info on the item name, which means the text box should be set to 1. But we notice it is not changing it. Yeah. I think that's because it's being set as a copy. Gosh darn it. Let's see, Mobius, what recommended way do you use to save inventory data? Do you use plugins or save slots? Anytime I save, I use save slots. Plugins, for the most part, are either going to write out to custom files, if you get like a custom plugin, or just be a easier interface for save slots. I just use simple save slots, and I save out structures of data, is what I generally do. Yeah, see, this is not going to work for what I want. So the other way of doing this is we link these things up like this. So when we create the widget and we add the widget, we still have reference to the original widget here. And we can set the info when we're creating it. So that's the other way of doing that. Let's see, then we want to get player info, get player, not player info. Get current player, get current player. No, that's, can I not, oh, get player character. Gee, many criminy, it's like I've never done this before. And then get inventory, and then get, yeah, see, copy's fine for stuff like this. We never refresh. Okay, so let's see if this works. There we go. So we can see it working and we can see it setting properly. We have an issue now. Now it does go back to our issue with this being a problem. -1. Yeah, so now it should work. And then if we do 3, 2, 3, oops. Did I not plug this in properly? Oh, help if you plugged in the right spot. There we go. So now you can see it's actually filling in the data. That's what I meant to, that's what I was trying to show. Okay, so at this point what I've done is our actual inventory. So whatever is our character's inventory is something on the player. It's an actual array, it's an actual structure, it's whatever. And our user interface, which if we can go back to it right here, is actually something completely separate, a completely separate widget. And it holds just stuff, just widgets. But the actual connection between the two of them are separate. We're just passing information back and forth. So that's why you have here, let me, you know, I'm not happy with the way that's working out. Let's just set some default values in here. There we go. So now when we create it, you can actually see. And all it's doing is when it recreates our inventory, it simply asks our inventory again for the information and sets it back up. But that's how you would set up your adding and removing. We're recreating everything basically every time. You have other ways you could do it. I mean, technically, if you wanted to, we could simply add or remove. Since we do have an array of widgets inside of there. Where is it at? Oh, here we go. Since we are keeping track of all of these widgets as we're creating them, there's no reason we couldn't remove one of them, for example. So when we called a subtract, we could remove, and when we called an add, we could create a new one and add. That would prevent us from refreshing the inventory all the time. I don't think this is called often enough to really be an issue, but that is something you could do. This would also allow you to easily check when you're adding and subtracting if the player has enough, if it was smart. So, because for example, if the player has 5 items in their inventory and you're taking them down to 4 items, for example, they're replacing a 5-slot bag with a 4-slot, you wouldn't allow that because their inventory is greater than the amount of actual slots. But then again, that's not even that hard because, you know, here's our inventory size changed. Here's our player with the inventory size changed. You just simply check that your inventory length is going to be, you know, we would go in here and we could do something really stupid like, you know, inventory length. Can I have that, please? Thank you. And then we'll get the length of the inventory. And if this is less than or equal to our new inventory size, then we'll go ahead and do it. But this is when we do not want to use the increment, so we'd want to do something more like we don't want to do an increment. We don't want to do a minus at this point. See, you always have to refactor. That's the thing when you're coding. You just end up refactoring everything later once you realize that you have no idea what you're doing half an hour ago. So now instead of using the increment, because we want to put in a bounds check, we want to do something like subtract, and then we'll do a bounds. Not bounds, range. No, clamp. Darn it. I knew it was the right number. It was in there somewhere. Clamp it between 0 and our inventory length. So So that way we never go below our inventory length no matter what. And then we can go ahead and set inventory size to the new value. Now, anytime we subtract, we should never go below how many we currently have. And then we can hook this back up over here. Move this back over here. Yeah, so we change our code from this to this, and this should, in theory, never let us go below. So if we subtract 1, oops, somebody screwed up here. Clamp between 0. Oh, and the inventory length. Yeah, never mind. Someone put the numbers backwards, so we're going to go with that right there. We're going to have the minimum being the length of the inventory. And then you could actually set your max to be like, for example, the max you want the player to have or something. That's what I meant to say. So now when I hit 1, see, I can add up to my max, or I can never go below the amount of inventory I have. Like that. And even if I went in and added more inventory, so like 4 and 12, now I can never go below. So, I mean, that's an example right there. So yeah, this video will be uploaded later. Hopefully that helps a little bit. UMG is a little bit difficult to get behind once you realize that things are basically in things, which are in things. And you have to treat it as a parent-child relationship for almost the entire UMG layout is how it works. So we have our player's screen, which actually holds another widget, which actually holds a group of widgets. And then each of those widgets can be relative to a button or something like that. And once you get that in mind, then you think about what you want. Okay, well, I have a widget that represents my little button, and I have 20 spots for my inventory. Each spot for my inventory should be one of these buttons. So I'm going to need 20 buttons. So I need to make sure I create 20 buttons. Where do I want these 20 buttons? Well, they go in the inventory. Okay, so I need to add them as children to the inventory. All 20 of these buttons. And then you can think about, you have to think about it like that. I think that was it. Bug fix request. Yeah, they mentioned it. Go to Answer Hub. That's where you want to put that. Conrad, would it be possible and a good idea to save to external databases? It is possible. The good idea is up to you. For example, there is an SQL plugin that you could use if you want to write to a local SQL database. There are also ways of getting it out of the engine over the network. Our live stream, which we technically work on when we stream and don't have questions, we are using a plugin to, over the network, write to a node server, and then we're using that node server to connect to a MongoDB database server, and we're saving out our character to that because we're creating a small little MMO. So yes, it's definitely possible. The idea is up to you, though. If you're talking about a high score, I don't think you need a database. If you're talking about a multiplayer game or persistency or something, a database is probably a good idea. I'm sorry about that. Oh. My cat's being a boogerhead. Let's see. You probably heard Dr. Robotnik's thing. Yep, I've got a bunch of video game soundtracks that are playing. Okay, so that's just pretty much going to wrap it up. We went about 2 hours and some odd time. Let's see, 2 hours and 20 minutes. I definitely not happy right now. Hold on a second. Yeah, I see OBS. So in terms of quality for the stream, in terms of sound and video quality, no one has mentioned any issues. So I'm assuming there are no issues. I also just realized I'm streaming at 60 frames per second because I left it on my video recording settings. So that's highly amusing for the day. The reason I ask is because apparently I'm using X264 for streaming, which I forgot all my settings, and it looks like I set them up wrong. But it looks like I'm using X264 and 60 frames instead of NV encode and 30 frames. So that's an interesting thing. You've had an issue with the resolution. What's the issue with the resolution? There's nothing stopping me. Let's see, you're on YouTube, so let's check out my YouTube channel and see what it looks like on my side. Okay. UT keeps bumping you down to 480. Yeah, there's a chance it's to bump you down to 480 because of the settings on my side, because I'm running it at 60 frames on accident. I'm looking at it right now on my side, and YouTube is bumping me down to 480 as well. So I have a feeling it was a mistake on my side, and I apologize for that. So I'll get that fixed here afterwards. Do you happen to know what your bandwidth is in terms of your download speeds? Yeah, I have a feeling it's just because I set it up wrong. I'm running at like 15% CPU utilization right now, which I should not be. And that's because I'm running it horribly, horribly wrong in terms of my settings. Which is fine, not a big deal. Yeah, so I think it's just my settings on that one. Sorry about that, guys. But no one really complained too much, which means at least the basic settings are fine. And at least I got my sound calibration working properly, I think. That one's a giant pain in the butt. I do want to apologize, though, because if you can't see it, like, well, on the rerun, it'll probably be fine because it'll still be 1080, 60. But, like, live, it's a little bit of a pain in the butt because it keeps dropping you to 480. It'll be fixed for the next stream. I'm going to finish it once we finish here. So, I'll go ahead and work on wrapping this up. I appreciate everyone hanging out. Tomorrow will be a Epic stream, so let's find out what Epic is going to have tomorrow. Let's find out. Unreal Engine, and then, yes, I was already logged in, but thank you for logging me in again. Okay, apparently tomorrow is a secret guest. Special guest to discuss their upcoming UE4 game. Let's see. Post your guess what the game could be based on the teaser above. Huh. Well, everyone's seeing this exactly what I'm seeing. So this is some sort of a teaser to a game that's supposedly coming out, well, will be talked about tomorrow on the stream. And it's on Unreal Engine's forum, so unfortunately we're not going to know for sure. Okay, so tomorrow will be a Unreal stream where we have no clue what's going on. Hopefully everyone tunes in and has fun. My next stream will be on Friday. It'll be roughly 10 o'clock Pacific, so 2.5 hours before now. This stream will show up on Beam and Twitch in a little bit. It'll show up on YouTube in a couple hours. I'll work on getting my audio stuff and video stuff fixed. Friday, like normal, will be hopefully the live stream. The MMO stuff, unless people have questions or we find other stuff to do. No problems. Either way, I'm happy to work on stuff. To answer your question, where'd it go? And yeah, I do have reverb because I'm in an office that's literally covered with wood floors and solid walls, which is super annoying. Zalati, I reinstalled my Windows because I do it every so often. I'm going to be focusing a bit more on work. I've got some other projects I need to work on. So I thought it would be a good time. I wiped Windows, reinstalled it clean. I only have the basic requirement software on here, and I have no more video games on my work computer. So hopefully I will be focusing on work only. So that would be why I did it. It's also nice to get a fresh start every so often. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up. I hope everyone has a good rest of their day. I will see everybody on Friday who shows up for the stream, or tomorrow for the Unreal Engine stream. It's going to go dead for about 30 seconds or so and then cut off. Everyone have a good rest of their day.